their logic. So quantum computers will probably be able to break other quantum computers that are older than them. Like, so when the technology gets better, this one can decrypt something this one does.
But can they decrypt all non-quantum encryption?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a thing pretty easily.
So
they think a lot faster.
I mean, yeah, probably the entire environment will change again once quantum computing
it's
becomes
constantly changing.
It's an arms race, like you're saying. Yeah.
Do you know why Bitcoin is worth money?
I wondered that myself.
Exactly, pretty much. The blockchain is the next look at for security. So the blockchain technology itself is worth a lot of money. The idea of being able to use it for security and information sharing is why Bitcoin itself is worth money, because of the algorithm they use to generate it. It can also be used for security purposes later. Also, people had that FOMO thing where they wanted to buy it. That drove the price up a little bit. But the reason why it's actually worth something is the technology behind it.
Yeah, the reason it exists. Yeah.
Companies like Walmart, Wells Fargo, bigger banks are looking into it to use it for how they encrypt their account information, which is only good for us, the consumer, at that point, because they're starting to look more into it. Because back in 2012, remember when all the banks went down? Wells Fargo, Bank of America, they lost millions of dollars in one day because they were only down for 24 hours, which is a wake-up call for them, because it happens so easily. Someone hit a button, and that was it.
Right. All right. Thanks for the question.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
If you had
more to say,
that's okay. Don't worry about it.
All right, Jojo.
Okay.
Oh, right.
No, I'm good. I didn't want to keep you there.
Thanks for the question.
Poster.
Wait, okay. Can you repeat that? Yeah, I got the first part. Sorry.
Making noise.
I can't hear it. That's the thing.
Right. Yes.
You're completely right. That's why I wouldn't use them for like email. That is also true.
So if you use a plus, I know Gmail allows you to use a plus sign, so you could have your email plus a random word at gmail.com. And so if the website allows you to use a plus sign, and you are using the same password across different websites, but you're using a different phrase after the plus sign for each email, because basically any email address that you send an email to, your alias and a plus sign and any text afterwards will still send to that email. So, and I've used that to make multiple accounts before. So would that be as secure? I mean, it's probably not quite as secure, but then it's then at least your email is not listed as the same thing.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people.
Yeah, but not preventing.
Yeah. It's yeah. And a lot of people, honestly, like you mentioned, use the same 2 or 3 passwords. So common occurrence is a lot of people will get your password for one thing, have probably already enumerated email accounts or things that they've discovered about you that you read other places, and try to use the same password to get into those accounts. A lot of people use the same password for Twitter as they do for Facebook, as they do for LinkedIn and other things like social media, and they go, oh, that's my social media password. If someone gets into your Facebook account, it could potentially compromise every other account you have. So, change a little bit.
I can't either.
Yeah, I can't hear anyone either.
Oh, man.
Oh, there's a glitch.
I can hear
That's
him.
weird. Yeah.
I hear Dojo.
That's a bummer.
Yeah,
That's
I
weird.
see
Don't
him.
hear me?
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
see him
yeah,
either.
maybe ask the question and we can repeat it back so that
Well,
people who can't see you can hear it.
Or did
This
you
is
say?
a-
Did you say what you were gonna say? That passwords
No, you had a
that you shouldn't
question.
use more than one.
Yeah, question.
Oh,
Hmm. Okay, so the question is, how
Oh,
often
quite
do you
often.
actually see someone using one password for one website and then using it to get into other accounts?
Often, but I think the question was like, so like they, for example,
Think so,
having
too.
multiple Gmail accounts, and you notice that there is a you registered this Gmail account as a backup for X Gmail account, and then you can go like, oh well, let me go reset that password real quick too and see what's in that account, because this one is just a bunch of junk mail, so obviously this isn't their main account, but like that other account could be, and now you're in there because you have the password
right.
for the original account, you've reset the password for this account, and now you have their other email account. And then if you have
Wow.
the other password, you could easily, like I said previously, go into like try out their Facebook account, things like that. There's a tool we like to use called. Oh, go ahead.
That happened to a VR chat dev once.
Yep,
Yeah, confirming social security numbers. Wow.
it happens. It's there's anyway. If there's a will, there's a way, and some websites aren't secure about how they share your information or the way they confirm things. I know, like banks, for example, for a while, where like if you forgot your password, one of the security questions was the last four of your social security number. Like that's okay. I don't
Right.
want to. Don't put that out there. Like, because if someone just
Yeah.
enumerated my user account and hit reset password, and that was what they confirmed it with, that's just like,
But also on the
that's
flip
good.
side, some of the requirements are such BS. Like it's like, you must have a number and a special one of these special characters, but it can only be 16 digits long or something like that. And it's like I can't do. I don't know. It's just some of the requirements sometimes seem kind of superfluous, and
Yeah.
That's also
But-
true. There's a lot of debate in the community about how passwords should be. Should they be infinite length and as long as they want, but only use letters and numbers, or should they be shorter, may be forced to include special characters and have certain requirements? I know a lot of those requirements, it makes it harder if they stole the hash for the password to decrypt it. And that's really the only reason, but with the modern technology, it's not hard to get a rainbow table from a website or DEF CON or things like that. And it's a lot of passwords are easy to enumerate nowadays, especially if you have the technology behind you. Like it's only getting cheaper to use GPUs for password cracking. The GPUs aren't, well, they're expensive now because of Bitcoin mining, but previously they weren't. And they do a lot of mathematical equations a lot faster because they have to render polygons and things like that. So they do password cracking extremely quickly, and the market to get and stuff like that's extremely cheap. So a lot of people are a little nervous about how easily it's become with the information being available on the web. Tools like Kane, John the Ripper, things like that are freely available, and like toolkits like Kali Linux and things like that. And then a script kiddie could possibly get your MD5 hash by Googling the hash that they got. Like Windows XP is completely is completely ridiculous because the hashing algorithm they use, you could just take it, the hash, put it into Google, and you will get their password.
Which, by the way, the National Institutes of Health uses on a lot of their computers still. Windows XP.
Fun.
Windows XP.
Well, that's good.
So
Okay.
anyway,
let's move on. Red Turtle.
Okay, I'm asking first because I'm going to ask about a vintage-ish hack and virus, and it's basically two questions rolled into one for this one, which is ransomware. Even though it's still used today, how does that kind of work on people's systems, and how I believe people are using USB sticks and jamming them into the computers to remove it, and how that also plays into it. So this is my question.
Okay. Yeah, ransomware is fun.
Fun for who?
Not for the user.
Not for the user, but we got from time to time I'll be able to get a hold of like some sample code like the Petra ransomware, I put in an environment and just watch it spread, and that was fun for me to see how it worked. But not to anyone in the Ukraine or things like that. But so it's an interesting tool. Ransomware. Yeah, it is.
All right.
Interesting.
People will Google it, I guess. They'll Google like, did this give you your money or your
Yeah, well, yeah. That's, I can't remember if it was the Petra one, but one of them, someone was looking into code, and they went to a URL, like a specific like domain, and it was free, and they found in the code that this domain was linked to the ransomware, and then they bought the domain, and it shut down the ransomware.
Oh, that was WannaCry.
Completely.
That was
Yeah,
that
it was
Marcus
WannaCry.
Hutchins.
Yeah, there we go. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
He
think
got
that's his
arrested at
name.
DEF CON.
Yes, he did.
I remember seeing that.
Still,
I was there that year.
Oh.
Yeah, it was an interesting scene.
That's a whole different story. Anyway, yeah. Thanks, Red Turtle.
Thanks, Red. All right, last
All
question.
right, Doom Trooper.
Hello. I have one last question for you this evening. With the Stuxnet virus and the various zero-day exploits that have been propagated throughout the internet, including various infrastructure systems, and I'm going to go hazard a guess that is actually probably infiltrated the U.S. infrastructure systems, with things being fully linked as they are. Do you believe there is a major concern that exploit could use to attack the U.S. power grid and essentially shut it off? I only say this is because during my time in the military as 38 Bravo Civil Affairs, domestic side, we were trained in such a scenario, and the scenario was not a very good outcome for the United States when the power was turned off.
Yeah, that's the problem. That is the ultimate issue with Stuxnet, is that it got into the U.S. The NSA didn't tell Homeland Security about their project, allegedly. And when they found that the virus was spread to PLCs, which are programmable logic controllers for our nuclear facilities, our water treatment plants,
Siemens systems and everything else.
Exactly. They declared it like a national emergency. They found out about it as much as possible. They tried to get anyone on the case that knew anything about this. Yeah, they became like an issue. And not once the current director of the director of Homeland Security then never once was told anything, obviously because plausible deniability at that point. But like they took it as a security threat, not knowing the security threat was made by a joint operation. So they went on the news and told everybody about it, and they did interviews, and this is why it's like public domain knowledge for the most part now. They told news stories about it. They told like all the news companies and the media, and it made it a pretty big deal. But now the technology's out there for anybody to have. and they know that it exists. So now it's out in the wild because it infected computers in Russia, Iran, Turkey, the U.S., Canada, Mexico, like anyone that used these specific Siemens PLC controllers.
And I have a question.
It's hard to update machine code.
Is there, this is kind of a newbie question, is there a U.S. power grid? I thought each region kind of had their own system, or is it all
connected?
The same?
They're all connected except for Texas has its own grid that can technically, this is public knowledge, technically section itself off from the United States if need be. But if such an incident did occur, unfortunately, the projected models. This is actually now public information. If you look up, it's actually from the EMP Commission, I believe, 2008. That basically showed that within a year of the United States grid being down, 90% of the population would be dead. Within the first 3 months, 40% would be dead due to social unrest, violence, disease. Within the first week, several hundred thousands would be dead because of lack of power due to medical issues and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's pretty grim.
EMP again is what exploding a nuclear device a mile above or something like that. That was
120 miles up.
And so that would cut out electricity for the entire country or something, or.
Yes, it would over a large geographic area, except for certain military bases and critical infrastructures that have been hardened under, what was it? It was back in 2012. Yeah, back in 2012, there was some funding put into the National Defense Authorization Act to secure certain facilities. Again, that's public information as well.
That's all
I've got to say for right now.
Interesting.
And it all sounds so brittle. Like anything could just make it all come tumbling down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's I think it's interesting because there's a lot of criticisms, and I get caught up in a lot of it too. About like military and things like that, and like the NSA doing so much surveillance. But it's there's obviously a lot of defense and things like that are obviously being thought out and worked on with a lot of effort. With all these kind of threats that can seamlessly almost integrate themselves into our technology and potentially destroy the way that we live. So it's pretty crazy. And
so I guess
I have one last question because I've been wanting to ask this the whole time, and I know we briefly talked about it. So just briefly, if you could, how are these smart home devices like Alexa and things like that? Are those like huge entry points to people's entire, you have this person who has one password, or they have a black book and all their passwords written down. They're meticulous, but they have an Alexa in their house. So how could that kind of affect their information, their security or whatnot?
So it's a lot of people don't think about them in that manner of computer security, but the world's biggest botnet that was discovered was done through IoT devices, like Internet of Technology, things like an Alexa, your smart fridge, your camera that's connected to your internet, things like that. And those are extremely vulnerable because there's no security built into those. Almost none. Yeah, they have updates, but they're getting there. But there weren't. And because no one thought they would be hacking your refrigerator. Who thought ever that someone's going to hack this refrigerator? The features were the first thing. They wanted to get the features in there, and the security was an afterthought, which happens.
What's the thing to do about that? Just not have those devices?
Right now, they're working on putting more security in them, and one of the things you can do is you have your home router. You also have a firewall still in your house, things like that. Make it more difficult for intrusion. But that's when it comes to your IoT devices, it's very difficult right now to harden yourself against those things. But they're still fun, so you're gonna buy them. It's a lot of security is judging the risk you want to take to still live your life like a normal human being. Because if you looked at all of your security risks, you would just go well, I'm never doing anything. I'm gonna throw my computer away. I don't want the debit card anymore. No more webcam. No more anything. I'm taking my VR headset off. No more microphones. Stuff like that. But it would be a miserable existence. So a lot of this you have to take it. Yeah, that's
always that.
There you go. Just drop off the grid completely.
Among us.
They have that hamster wheel. They have that that fireless fireplace. That's kind of
I
weird. I
would
don't
if
know
I
about that.
could.
You could.
Yeah, right.
You can build houses.
If
it's
I
fun.
would, if I could, I would.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Well-
so I guess the kind of the takeaway, at least for what people can do, is just be as informed as possible and know the risks you're taking when you take them. When you, when in regards to your password management and your Internet of Things and all that different stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
And also be mad at
Cool.
Microsoft all the time.
Oh yeah, that's a given.
sure.
No kidding. But,
So my boss is actually a Microsoft MVP. I can't be mad at Microsoft. That's
Oh.
hey, I'm impressed with Windows Mixed Reality, honestly. So
it's actually really cool.
But yeah, well,
Well,
thank you
for
everyone,
joining
and
us.
thanks for coming
Yeah,
on the show,
and-
Fear.
No problem.
Yeah.
I had fun.
I will. Last
Okay,
thing is
so
to take a
let's-
picture. Let me turn off the
Yeah, let's
speaking
take a
of
picture.
security in ones and zeros. Let me turn
Oh
off
yeah,
the
we've got a stage security.
sophisticated security in this room. Super sophisticated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We gotta make something go, sir.
All right, the security trigger is off.
All right, everybody
Hack
up here.
us.
Let's get hacked.
That's okay.
Oh,
No, it's okay.
That's a bummer. But yeah, we got a good. I feel like we
Blame
got
it
a
on the
good live show
hackers.
at the very least. Yeah, it was
There we
probably
go.
hackers
Unblock
anyway.
avatars, I guess.
Freaking
Hold
hackers.
on. There we go.
Hackers.
Oh wow. I know, that's what I just did. Had a crazy Oh yeah, put your light be the light avatar.
It's my alarm.
Yay.
Whoa.
Bubby.
Security, yeah.
Security, yay.
I like that posing for pictures is still a thing in VR.
Nice,
That makes me very
nice.
happy.
It's awesome.
Yay, thanks everyone.
Everyone be grateful you've taken back the
Oh, you're welcome.
Right, master.
Good job.
Sorry, sorry.
Good job, Fear. You did a good job.
Okay.
Yeah, that was awesome, Fear.
Yeah, that was awesome. I actually came in
Hi,
here
Ghost.